Continuing in the halachot, we were mentioning yesterday about tevilat kelim, a person who buys new instruments, new utensils that are food related, food purposes, has to take it to the mikveh. If he purchased it from a goy, he has to take it to the mikveh before he uses it, which means he's not allowed to use it until he takes it to the mikveh. Yesterday we spoke about disposable. Today I want to talk about just regular instruments that a person has, a pot, a pan, forks, knives, whatever. If it's made out of metal or glass, he has to take it to the mikveh and say a bracha of al tevilat keli or al tevilat kelim. The question is as follows. Let's say it is Shabbat and he did not yet take it to the mikveh. Is this item now muktze? Because it is known that you're not allowed to use kelim, you're not allowed to use it even once. You can't use an instrument that hasn't yet been taken to the mikveh. So the question is, do these instruments become muktze because they're unusable on Shabbat since it hasn't yet been taken? Some people make a mistake, by the way, and they conflate that if somebody cooked in a pot that wasn't taken to the mikveh, that the food becomes asur. And that's not true. That's a misconception. They confuse different halachot. There is no such thing that the food that's made in it is asur, but you still are not allowed to eat from that pot or from that pan or from a fork that is being used. So you'd have to transfer it into something that is fine, like plastic or something that was taken to the mikveh, and then the food is totally kasher. There's no problem with the food itself. However, the pots and the pans and the forks and the knives cannot be used until they're taken to the mikveh. So does one is permitted on Shabbat to carry these items, or is it a problem of muktze? So Chacham Ovadia writes, it is mutar to handle these items on Shabbat, even though they weren't yet taken to the mikveh, for the very simple reason that the Shulchan Aruch holds you're allowed to even take it to the mikveh on Shabbat. So since the halacha is you're allowed to be tovel on Shabbat with a bracha and everything, so therefore it could technically be used on Shabbat. I could just walk it over to the mikveh, assuming there's a eruv. I could take it over to the mikveh, be tovel it, and therefore I could end up using it on Shabbat. Although the Shulchan Aruch says, Yireh Shamayim, a person who's God-fearing, instead of taking it to the mikveh, should find the goy and gift it to the goy, and then borrow it from the goy. And then he won't need to take it to the mikveh for that Shabbat. And then after Shabbat, he'll go ahead and he'll ask the goy to give it to him as a present. Then he'll be able to take it. But that's the best solution. Nevertheless, the halacha is it's mutar to take instruments to the mikveh on Shabbat. And therefore, even if they weren't yet taken, or even if you're not planning on taking it, they don't have the status of muktze. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.